If you prefer your magic systems a bit loose with a ton of ecchi, then Trinity 7 is the series for you. Welcome back to OtakuDaiKun, Dai here. Today's video is brought to you by my $50 supporter, Dante Pendragon, who wanted me to shine a spotlight on the manga-turned-anime Trinity 7. Given I often put a heavy focus on the magecraft and the Nasuverse, I figured the best way for me to showcase this series would be to provide an overview of its unique magic system. While the show is first and foremost a power fantasy harem, it flavors itself with layers of intriguing lore that help it stand out from the rest of its genre. If you enjoy this content, be sure to like, comment, share, and smash that subscription bell as if it were your waifu. Consider supporting the channel by signing up as a paid member on YouTube or joining Subscribestar or Patreon. All three platforms offer the same perks, such as early access and exclusive vids like my Lessons in Magecraft series. Without further ado, let's dive in. Trinity 7's story revolves around the Royal Biblia Academy, a school funded by world governments in order to train mages. They investigate and restore all manner of supernatural mysteries caused by magic. Generally, these mysteries are referred to as breakdown phenomena. They come in different forms and cause different distortions. The worst kind is a destructive event caused by fluctuations in gravity that generate magnetic fields. It occurs in confined regions, destroying all matter within while dissolving all life into particles of light that get swallowed up by a black sun above. Fortunately, most breakdown phenomena aren't this dangerous, but still, it's up to mages to eliminate them all the same. A breakdown phenomenon can be resolved if its core is destroyed. In the event that a breakdown phenomenon is being caused by another mage, it can be shut down by taking control of it from that mage. The source of Trinity 7's magic are the archives, which preside in the center of the universe, on a higher plane of existence from humanity. Only by training one's mind can a mage connect to the archives and draw out their power. There are 7 archives, each named after one of the 7 deadly sins. There's Superbia for pride, Invidia for envy, Ira for wrath, Acedia for sloth, Avaritia for greed, Gula for gluttony, and Luxuria for lust. The ways that mages connect to the archives each take on a unique form, or thema, which is what mages actually study. Think of it like an individual mage's personal bond with their respective archive. Just like the archive itself, its thema have their own respective names and properties. Initially, mages start out with just one thema, but over time, they can acquire more. When connecting to the archives, mages transform into sorcerer modes, donning garments made up of magical energy. While there are other magic schools out there, Royal Biblia Academy is special for having an elite body of students who have each mastered one of the archives. These students are known as the Trinity 7, and by exploring each of their abilities, we can grasp the characteristics of each archive. The first of the 7 we meet is Lilith Asami, who has mastered the Luxuria archive with her thema Abes, or creation. It belongs to a branch of magic known as Outer Alchemic. As the name implies, Lilith is an alchemist, using the theory of equivalent exchange to transmute materials. To pull this off, she needs to comprehend the composition of her materials, deconstruct them into smaller components, and ultimately reconstruct them into new forms. In Lilith's case, she mainly materializes weapons such as handguns and rifles that fire off magical energy. Outer Alchemic was originally founded by Hohenheim, the father of alchemy. In Trinity 7, he takes on the appearance of a sexy female demon called Libic. Luxuria is the archive for lust, so one would expect Lilith to embrace lewdness, and yet she is often embarrassed by it. That's because mages connect to their archive through an inverse relationship, thus it's Lilith's condemnation for lust that actually makes her more compatible with it. While she's a teacher at the academy, she derives power from the very thing she polices the other students on. Some mages receive help from grimoires, ancient texts that contain magical knowledge. Lilith's grimoire is the Hermes Apocrypha, which she uses as the catalyst for her alchemy. Grimoires are typically just inanimate objects, but some of them have their own consciousness. While Hermes is not one of these rare cases, it is able to take on a human form when provided the proper energy. As a human, Hermes takes on the form of Lilim, a young girl who calls Lilith her mother. Next, we have Levi Kazama, who has mastered the Invidia archive. Her themas are Expectatio and later Sparrow, which are part of a magic branch called Shamanic Spell. As a ninja, she uses these spells to manipulate wind and nature, creating illusions that throw her opponents off guard. To that extent, she fashions her magic into a variety of attack and stealth maneuvers, or ninjutsu. Her left eye, which is almost always covered by her hair, has the ability to sense the impending death of anything it sees. Her right eye is able to activate her Last Crest, an ultimate spell attributed to each of the archives. Her last crest, Leviathan, can only ever be used once, as it's powerful enough to erase her opponent's existence entirely through a portal of wind. The last crests are so powerful that not all of the Trinity 7 have even revealed theirs. Since Invidia is the archive of envy, Levi herself is actually never envious of others. Contrary to her thema, Expectatio, she doesn't expect anything from others either, making her suitable for solo action as a ninja. Presumably, Levi also happens to be the reincarnation of Shamanic Spell's founder. Arin Kanazuki is a master of the Era archive. Her thema is Ruina, which is part of a branch called Chaotic Rune. Naturally, this means that Arin casts spells based around Norse runes, each one having a unique effect. She invokes these spells efficiently by registering them as macros in her grimoire, Laguna Yggdrasil. Even though it's a book, Arin's grimoire can transform itself into a ring on her left hand. The founder of Chaotic Rune is none other than the Celtic warrior Skahak. Her spear, the Gay Bolg, still exists in the modern day for Arin to find and use. Its true form is actually Gungir, the weapon of Odin. Era is the archive of Wrath, so inversely, Arin is about as calm and subdued as one can get. She believes herself to be the bride of our main character, Arata Kasuga, and she doesn't display a hint of anger, even when he hits on the other girls. Mira Yamana is a master of the Superbia archive, and her thema is Justitia, representing justice. Her branch of magic is called Gehenna Scope, which specializes in analyzing and reflecting other forms of magic. She is adept at defending herself, as well as counterattacking against powerful spells used against her. Mira casts her spells through a grimoire called the Book of Mirrored Lands. This supposed book actually takes the form of a crystal ball that stores all of her spells such that, should it ever break, Mira will be unable to perform any of her magic. While Mira seems to perfectly align with her Archive of Pride, working at the school as head of grimoire security, she first aligned with Superbia when she was the exact opposite. Initially, she feared losing control of her powers, and as such, would never assert herself. The one to break her out of that shell was Akio Fudo, a master of the Gula archive. Akio's thema is Fides, and she practices a branch of magecraft known as Mantra Enchant, which allows her to enhance her physical abilities through written characters. The strength of this magic is tied to her strength of will. In other words, her determination. Motivated by the destruction of her hometown, she has no shortage of charisma, to the point where if she uses too much of her energy in battle, she'll revert to a childlike state until she recovers. She used to be pious like her mother, but after her village was destroyed, she gave up on worship, which is why her thema, Fides, means faith. Despite Gula being the archive of gluttony, Akio is quite active and frugal, which is why she suffers from fighting on an empty stomach, in terms of magical energy that is. Yui Karata is a master of the Avaritia archive, and her thema is called Amicitia. The magic she uses is Arc Symphony, which allows her to create and control her own dream world. She can pull people from reality into her dream world, as well as put herself out into reality as an astral projection. Because of her immense power, she could potentially put the entire world to sleep, and to prevent this, she's initially sealed away in the dungeons beneath Royal Biblia Academy. Her appearance changes depending on whether she's in the real world or her dreams. She uses a grimoire called the Leicester's Score, which provides her the music she plays when casting her spells. She's one of the very few mages who has revealed her last arc, Parsimonia Maimon, which has her and a given target trapped in a shared dream for all eternity. Contrasting with her Archive of Greed, Yui originally had no interest in worldly desires. She was perfectly content with her dreams, but that's starting to change as she makes more and more friends in the real world. By far, my favorite member of the Trinity 7 is Liselot Sherlock, master of the Acidia archive. Her thema is Stagna, and she practices a branch of magecraft called Logos Art, originally founded by the mathematician Pythagoras. This allows her to manipulate space via teleportation, as well as time itself. This is based on high-speed calculations, through which she can analyze her opponent's moves and weaknesses. She was a child prodigy, first using Logos art with no prior knowledge of magecraft. For as much as she despises work and would love to soak in a bathtub forever, Liselot is actually very diligent, doing whatever it takes to improve as a mage. Magi can be categorized into different ranks based on their abilities. Cardinal mages are exceptionally strong, just one step lower than the Academy's headmaster, who is a paladin. Above that are Magic Kings, also localized as Demon Lords, who can only reach this rank by obtaining a unique factor or element for it. In pursuit of this factor, Liselot performed a ritual to reach a place called the Eternal Library, where she acquired a Demon Lord's element. Seeking even greater power, she aimed to steal the magical energy of our protagonist, and in the process of doing so, she invoked the Archive's last crest, Baal Peor. It allows her to freeze time at will, or rather, slow down the movements of everyone and everything around her. As a consequence, Liselot becomes trapped in a separate high-speed dimension, one that she cannot escape on her own. That leads us to ask, what's so special about our protagonist? At first, seemingly nothing. Arata Kasuga is your ordinary high schooler, living happily with his cousin and childhood friend, Yui Karata. Despite knowing nothing about magecraft, he was actually born with a Demon Lord factor, making him a candidate to become a Demon Lord whose powers are considered a threat to the whole world. Because of this, Hijiri is actually a mage sent to observe him and prevent the world's destruction. However, as they lived together, Hijiri fell in love with Arata, and when his Demon Lord powers went out of control, causing a breakdown phenomenon that wiped out his town, Hijiri sacrificed herself to save him. She possesses 2 special grimoires, one of which she entrusts to Arata so he can survive. This grimoire is the Astil manuscript, which, in addition to containing knowledge of other worlds, also has its own will and personality. As Arata watches Hijiri and his hometown fall victim to the breakdown, he wishes for everything to return to normal. To grant his wish, the Astil manuscript, nicknamed Sora, creates his town in a separate dimension. There, he's able to live out his days in peace, until Lilith comes to dismantle the illusion. Arata, not wanting to give up on Hijiri, convinces Lilith to take him back to her school so he can learn to be a mage. At first, he wants to learn magic in order to rescue Hijiri, but later on, when he learns of his Demon Lord powers, he vows to become strong enough to control them. Fitting for that goal, Arata's thema is Imperium, or Rule, from the Superbia archive. It allows him to rule over his own demonic persona. His first magic happens to cancel out or dispel the magic of others. This is useful for dismantling breakdown phenomena, as well as interrupting spells. At the same time, this anti-magic of his has the side effect of canceling out other mages' sorcery forms. In other words, this magic causes other people's clothes to explode, leaving them stark naked. Typically, an ordinary human would be unable to handle such a powerful grimoire without going insane or dying. As a Demon Lord candidate, however, Arata can take advantage of Sora's many abilities. The most important of these is the ability to copy magic from the other archives and themas. By understanding a thema's basic concept, learning of its founding, and dismantling its components with anti-magic, Arata and his grimoire can replicate the different magics used by the Trinity 7. As such, Arata helps these girls resolve breakdown phenomena, using each adventure as a chance to master his abilities. He later acquires a second grimoire, the Elias Fragment or Elia, that used to manifest as Hijiri's substitute when she was away doing mage stuff. After mastering 3 different themas, he gains the ability to use a magical weapon called the Black Imperial Sword Judecca, unlocking a Trinity form that puts him on the level of a paladin. Despite all this, Arata acknowledges that his abilities are the product of his close bonds with the girls and his grimoires. They're a fighting force that prevail when working together. Arata is prophesized to awaken as a Demon Lord, using the Trinity 7 as his harem and destroying the world. Can he overcome this fate, taking hold of his powers to use them so that he and his allies can live happily? To find out, you might just want to give Trinity 7 a look for yourself. As of right now, the story is still going strong in manga form. The anime has 1 season, an OVA, and 2 separate movies that account for around 9 of the manga's 26 volumes. It also has a light novel adaptation if you're interested. Have I perhaps convinced you to check out this ridiculous series? Or have you already seen it? Let me know what you think in the comments below. Thanks for watching!
If you enjoy this channel, help us grow by liking, commenting, sharing the video, subscribing to OtakuDaiKun, and
most of all, smashing that notification bell so you don't miss out on all of our anime discussion, lore, or Let's Play content.
You can support us directly through Patreon, Subscribestar, or our YouTube membership, all of which come with benefits like exclusive vids and early access.
As always,
Celebrate your fandom!
I want to give a special shout out to all my $10 and up supporters: VideoGamer75, Elise Trash for Skinko, Dante Pendragon, Stephen Elak, Samuel Gersten, The Nonchalant Ostrich, Otaku Mom, Jens Ballman, Mystic Samurai 1983, Lord Omagoden, Free Brick, Olympian Doll, RNGer Shuffles 1498, Alexis Yukio Gomez Yamato, Link Pendrago, King Kobo, Observer Bellis, Flash Daniel, James Hewitt, Uncanny EXP, Andre Foster, Jared Kraus, Matthew McAfee, Game King 352, Caitlin P, Vladimirovna, Jonathan Padua, The Taz 96, President Irina Vladimirovna Putina, Maxwell's Demon, Kengo X77, SF Giants Fan Mike, and Akakaze Yume. Thank you all so much.